Good evening, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the measurements of attitudes. In previous sessions, we discussed about the attitudes, how attitude works, and we even discussed about how many attitudes we have and effect of components of the attitude, that is ABC model, affect, behavioral, cognitions. These are the things we discussed in the previous question. And we even discussed about how do attitudes develop in attitude formation, like classical conditioning and attitude formation through instrumental conditioning. These are the things we learned in the previous session and even the observation learning. Now we are going to learn attitude change pursuits. See, in every day-to-day situations, depends on our attitudes towards a certain objects or issues, we will change our attitude, how we perceive the things. Suppose we started watching a television advertisement or any flyer. What happens? So that impact will be there. Nowadays, everyone is watching about the war, Ukraine and Russia. So what happening whenever we are into the mode, okay, we have some kind of fear. Okay, fine, we need to have some bunkers. Everyone needs to walk. See, because we are seeing the problems, the way they are facing Ukraine medical students from India. So we all consider into that. So here, what's happening? Few people they will pursue those things. Oh my God! Whenever we are going to a country, we need to take care of the things. People, what they do? Okay, how Ukrainians are developing the quality, like the way they are fighting. See, these are the things. It depends upon your attitude to person. What kind of a messages you are receiving and what exactly you are pursuing. It completely depends on the person to person. This is what Mr. Adolf Hitler at the time of Nazi party raids in the 1930s, even in the 40s, he assembled masses, appeared, and he used to mesmerize. How he used to mesmerize? See, everyone needs to get back to war. Okay. See here, he means he. This is called massive. In a mass, he used to pursue the things. He used to mesmerize. He used to work for him. So the way he is communicating, the way he is impacting, we already learned how best we can impact others, how best we can form the impression. So in the same way, whenever the person is delivering a lecture or whenever the person is trying to memorize the things, they will post in the first manner. So the way you are perceiving depends on the communication. The way Hitler communicated, he said that, okay, we have only one thing, you need to get back to war. So here it's impacted each and every person. So the whole crowd, okay, because of his leadership, they turn upon war. So this is what social psychologists research on the relation between perceivance, communication, and attitude changes is more focused. See, sometimes whenever people are advertising, they will give nice ads. Okay, suppose if you want to have long hair, depends on that they will give the ad. See here what they are doing, they are trying to impress others at the same time. They are trying to change the attitude of the person with their 1 or 2 minutes ad. Sometimes, yeah, it's less than 30 to 60 seconds only. But that impact is completely different. Now, how persuasion will affect on communicators and even how this message reach to audience. Here, whenever we are discussing about the persuasion, actually it involves 3 elements. The first one is source. What is source? It directs some type of message to some person or group of people. That means audience. Okay, here persuasion research all conducted by Mr. Howland and James Kelly in 1953. Here they focused on crucial elements like What they asked, who says what to whom and with what effect. Suppose if you want to finding something, the important things, here what we have to do, we need to break down the communication. How we are breaking, okay, here who says, who is, means what kind of, who is the speaker there? And what to whom with what effect? Whom he is addressing? What is the impact on his speech or delivering the lecture? See here, the communicator is important. At the same time, communication is also important. And what is the situation? That is also important. So here, what's happening in the persuasion? Here, communicator and message and audience. See, suppose if you are preparing nowadays, women, March 8th is Women's Day. So one lady, she prepared her lecture. See here, she needs to address whom she is addressing. These are the important things. So what is the situation? Means occasion. March 8th, Women's Day. Suppose if she started speaking on something else, what happened? No, that persuasion will be not there. Not only that, audience may not ready to, that is not an impact speech. That's the reason whenever we are going to persuade something, we need to check how the communicator was working and how is audience and what is the message. These are the three important things. These are the three credible sources whenever we are trying to say something. Here, Mr. Carl Howland and Walter Essis in 1952, they did a classic study on source credibility. In this study, what they encountered, for example, suppose if you are taking an example of practical automatic powered submarine we built at the present time. See here, few people, they give some answers. Okay. Actually, this is they got this information through an article from USA. Okay. Here, Mr. Physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer, he said that in these cases, it was said that Russian newspaper Pavda, the opinion of the subjects were learned before, immediately after, and 4 weeks after reading the articles. They said the experimenter with a measure of opinion change that could be attributed to the reading the articles. Just only for reading. Here, what's happening whenever they're reading the article, they will see what is the credible source from this article, who is the publisher and who is the author of the article. Suppose in this case, if the credible source is too good, okay, then here, see everyone, Mr. Oppenheimer, see here, because 36% of the subject, whereas the Parvada, okay, here what they will see? They will see the credibility. Okay, suppose if no one knows about the Parvada, here what happened? The credibility is low. This is called sleeper effect. Why means no one knows about the Parvada publisher. So here what's happening? There is no impact on the article and public. So that's the reason whenever we are communicating, we need to see the persuasions, how audience are behaving, what kind of a source and message. These are the things we need to have a control and we need to observe. Next, we are going to discuss about the cognitive process. What is this cognitive process and how it impacts the persuasion? Actually, in early research on persuasion, people focused on two factors. That is influence persuasion, and even the social psychologists, they started working on the what is under persuasion. Here, one important thing is systematic processing or the central root. Whenever we are trying to persuade the things, we have two ways. One is systematic processing, and the other one is heroic processing. This is called the peripheral root. In systematic processing, we can deliver the message, persuade the message. The individual first carefully considers what the content of the message and even approach, what kind of approach is giving. And they even emphasize the reliability of the source. And then they will see the content message. And again, they will check on the individual excerpt, considerable effort. So these things will affect on the systematic processing. How exactly this cognitive process will work. The next one will check on the heroist processing. This is the second type of processing. Again, we can call it as a peripheral route of persuasion to persuasion. Here, in this route, the thumb rule is intuitively makes use of a simple rules, the mental shortcuts to arrive a decision. Suppose someone wants to, what do you call, they want to get good marks. Here, what is the thumb rule? Whether they like it or not, they have to wait. They need to prepare for the exam very well. That is the thumb rule. See here, what exactly happening? Persuasion. So here, in this persuasion, they need to see what kind of a processing is going on. So based on that, they have to prepare. Now we'll see how we can measure the attitudes. Whenever we are discussing about the attitudes, people have likes, depends on their person to person, depends on their individual group and the community and the state and the national. So here, how we can measure? One model is, actually origin of this model is Thurston 1928 and Renesis Leckert in 1932, and Charles Woodgood and Tanbaum and Emoroy and S. Bogadas, they examined on this model. They delivered techniques separately. How we can measure the attitudes? Why do we need to measure the attitude? Because to determine what action to introduce, when, and how to introduce it for the discrete effect among target population. Whenever you are thinking about that, these action planners must know how far the existing tendencies of the population are receptive. Without having this kind of knowledge, it won't have any effect on appropriate means for the triggering the desired change. See, suppose if the person already have some kind of attitude, okay, suppose he wants to attend something, okay, he wants to become a actually he thought that his attitude towards the people are all whenever he is attending function, okay, fine, this people belongs to so and so group, this group belongs to a lot of negative attitude people. That is the thing he already have in his mind. He is going to meet the people. See here what's happening. Sometimes he may get some kind of anxiety. Okay, why means he already have a attitude. What kind of attitude towards the group? Hey, these people are negative people. So whatever they are telling, he will see in the negative era of the situation. So what's happening here? He already perceived something and he attended that. He is addressing the group. So now with these three methods, we can understand how we can measure the attitude. In Thurston Equal Appearing Intervals method, actually this method published in 1928. This title is Attitudes Can Be Measured by using the Thurston scale. Okay, actually towards this, actually he did some research on the large number of statements. He collected the statements from the people and he got the opinions about the issue or object of the study. These statements, after an editing for relevance and clarity, are given to the judges, okay, who are independently sort them into 11 sets of along a continuum that ranges from most unfavorable through neutral and most favorable. These are the 3-point scale he used. The 11 sets of the statements are to occupy positions in the continuum in such a way that the positions are at equal intervals. And he even addressed two adjacent positions, how it's addressed. Actually, in this situation, he used the Only for the final form of the scale, only those items are retained that have inter-judge agreement and fall at equal intervals. Here, what happened? These two judges are to assign the statements which is appropriate position to the scale, only on the logical basis of how favorable or unfavorable an opinion, and each every statement they expresses. Actually, this statement, each individual statement, it expresses by itself, and now how far the judges personally agree or disagree with the statements. Here, what happened? The average judge's position of statement on the 11-point continuum is the scale value for the statement. In this Thurston scale is ready, every statement in it, there are usually about the 20 statements has a numerical value already determined. When they administer, the respondent just checks that items he or she agrees and with her attitude score in the mean value of the items. He or check. This is a 11-point continuum scale, but he used every statement 20 statements. So whenever we are giving to the subject, they need to answer. Actually, here few questions are there. Its respondent has to answer each and every question. Depends on the answers, we can address the attitude. We can see the level of attitude. So this is called Thurston equal appearing interval method. Actually, this was done by 1928. This is called attitudes can be measured. Okay. Next, we'll go ahead with the Lightworks method of summated ratings. Here, Likert scale is one of the most reliable ways to measure opinions, perceptions, and behaviors. Here, Likert is credited with constructing attitude scales to measure attitude towards various complex issues like race and imperialism. In this method, what happened? Large number of opinion statements are collected, and the group of subjects to specify their level of agreement. The one is, it's a 5-point scale. First one is strongly agree. Second one is agree. Third is neither agree nor disagree. Fourth, disagree. And fifth, strongly agree. Okay, these are the 5-point scale things. And only those items which the analysis best different, the high scores are the low scores of the sample subjects. Okay, here, whenever we are measuring the attitude of a given group of respondents, we need to check in that Likert scale, each and every respondent, what it indicates, whether he indicated the strongly agree or disagree or undecided. Based on that, we will give the rating. This is called Likert method of submitted ratings. Now we'll check Osgood and Tannenbaum semantic differential. Here, the semantic differential developed by Osgood and Susie in Tannenbaum. Actually, this scale we can use. Semantic means meaning of psychological significance. Here, what we can use here, how people use a word or concept that is related to an object. Here, Osgood and his colleagues conducted extensive research across cultures and found that people across different cultures understand and give meaning to words concept. Here, in this dominant dimensions are, he used good, bad dimensions and strong and weak. See, in the previous skills, they used agree, disagree. But here, what they're using, because they did a cultural survey and they're using the strong, bad, weak, good, bad, active, and passives. These are the dimensions they used in this scale. They also obtain high correlation between the score on the evaluative dimensions and the other measures of the attitude toward a particular social object. Here, this instrument consists of a series of bipolar adjectives such as a fair, unfair, pleasant, unpleasant, good, bad, clean, dirty, valuable, and worthless. These are the components there in the scale. Here, each pair forms a continuum of 7 points. The end points being the positive of the adjective pairs. And the midpoint is the neutral position. Actually, here we can see fair, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, unfair, and valuable 1, worthless. So good, bad. Remaining things, it comes in the mid. So suppose if you want to measure an individual attitude towards alcohol use, here we need to check. Okay, the respondent has to give bipolar adjectives, such as, very simple, like the person is liking or disliking alcohol use. In the continuum, the numeral corresponding to the position checked by the subject based on his continuum. One's overall attitude score is the sum of the meaning. So whenever we are discussing about the scale, suppose we want to do a research on opinion to know about the alcohol, towards alcohol, attitude towards alcohol. Here we are telling like good, bad, strong, weak. These are the dimensions we are giving, 1 to 7. So here what happened? They will choose, depends on their opinion, attitude towards the drinking alcohol. So here, based on the score, we will address the thing. Okay, so many people addressed it good. Few people, they said worthless. Few people, they said fail. Few people, they said it's very bad. So based on the scoring, we will come to a conclusion. So here what we are addressing, based on the answers, we are addressing the attitude towards the alcohol from the public or from the community, whomever we conducted a questionnaire. Next one, Bogart's social distance scale. In this social distance scale, it actually measures the prejudice, or more precisely, the degrees of warmth, intimacy, indifference, or hostility between an individual and or any social or racial or ethnic groups. Actually, this scale was developed in 1933, and this scale was developed by Mr. Emory Bogart. And after him, Mr. Bogart's social distance scale is one of the boldest psychological attitude scales. It's 1930, is very bold. Actually, this is an undimensional. That means it can be used to measure exactly one's concept. That means prejudice. Here, what are the things is there? Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 options. The first one meant for close kinship by marriage. See here, we want to know the opinion on the marriage. We want to know from Americans, Chinese, English, French, and Africans. So what are the options we are giving? First option is close kinship, Indians also. Okay, close kinship by marriage. Second option, as a personal chance. Third, as a neighbors. Fourth, as colleagues, as citizens, as visitors. Seventh, would exclude from my country. See here, we are giving 7 options and we are collecting the responses from different countries. Here we will, actually what it indicates the relationship to which he or she is willing to admit members of each group. Suppose Americans choose 4 as colleagues. Okay, it depends on the person to person, how close they are with each other, the way they are chosen. Suppose if you agree with any statement, then it you assume to that you agree with all those less extreme than yours. Suppose someone agreed, all Americans agreed, okay, American spouse, it is assumed that you would also agree to have an American as your friend or neighbor. Simple. See, based on the skill, we can address the things. This is called Bogart's social distance scale. Now, we'll see the next chapter. We completed the 7th chapter. What are the attitudes? Now we will see how best how we can measure the attitudes And we even discussed about the persuasion. Now we'll get into the 8th chapter. Actually, here we are going to discuss about the theories of attitude, theories of balance, how cognitive dissonance theory works. Here, social psychologists, they devoted much to attention to the subject, how attitude changes, how it consistently theories hold the people prefers consistency and will change or resist changing attitudes based on their preference. Here, consistency between attitudes, between behaviors, and even their attitude and behaviors also we can see. If a person hates cigarette smoking, okay, but falls in love with a cigarette smoker, here what happened? There would be an inconsistency. And here, a lack of consistency causes discomfort. So if the person is aware of this inconsistency, what happens? Actually, inconsistency theories explains the person will try to resolve it. Here, inconsistencies are viewed as a stimuli or irritants and often resolved by changing attitudes. Here, what happens? Suppose someone is not liking the smoking, but still they like the person. They both are very good friends. Here, the person will try to address the issue and he will try to stop the smoking. Or else what he will do, he always complains and he will be with the person. Because when compared to the cigarette hating, he likes the person. So that is what all the theories means. These are the theories. It explains that how attitude works. Now we are going to discuss about the first theory. Fritz theory of balance. Sorry, Heidegger's theory of balance. Here, Fritz Heidegger's balance theory, it describes how people opinion about other individuals, even objects, how they perceive relation between them. This is the things Heidegger's theory of balance. Fritz Heidegger's theory of balances explains. It even tries to explain how people tend to maintain consistency in matter of their liking and disliking of one another and some other object of a person. Here, the central notion of the balance theory is that structures between individuals and objects are balanced. See here, wherever the imbalance is there, okay, and that balanced structure are generally preferred over the imbalanced structure. See here, suppose if you take the same first example, the person is not liking smoking, but he is liking the person. Here, what happening? It's balancing. Here, the specifically balance theory claims that unbalanced structure are associated with an uncomfortable feeling of negative effect. And how does it favor this negative effect? That feeling leads to people to strive for the balanced structures and to avoid imbalanced structures. Here, what is going, how it's working? They're not liking the smoking, but they are liking the person. But here they are trying to balance even for their negative feelings. Here, what is their negative feelings? Negative feelings towards the smoking. But here, what they're doing, they're trying to balance these two things. They are adjusting the things. And imbalance structure, what it is? They can't like the smell. They can't cigarette smoke, but that creates some uneasiness or discomfort. But still, that imbalanced structure, they are trying to avoid it, but even still they are liking the person. Here, when patterns of liking and disliking are balanced, structures are stable. When they are imbalanced, structures are unstable. And there is a pressure to change in the direction that makes them balanced. Here, sometimes you can see few people, they will say, okay, fine. Yeah, most of the time, whenever people are in love, they will say, okay, fine. He has a smoking habit. Okay, nothing wrong. Let him smoke. Initially, they will think that what is their confidence? Yeah, I can change this person because he wants to, he can. But still, whenever they are into relation, Whenever they are in good mood, they don't bother about the smoke and all, still they will continue. Whenever they are in bad mood, means that imbalance structure, yes, they will try to avoid. Hey, I can't, I don't like, I'm not liking your the smell, so I don't want to meet you. I mean, it's creating some uneasiness. So here what's happening, whenever they want to use that imbalance structure, they use that feeling to avoid the imbalance structure. So this is what balance theory is explaining. Even the first theory of balance structure, it always, sometimes it gives negative impact, even sometimes it gives positive impact. It depends on person to person. And not only that, some balance can be achieved in a number of ways. Suppose what happened, suppose the person is not liking the individual, but still here what they will do, they will try to understand the person. Means they will balance the traits. Why? Because suppose people are able to recall the balanced pattern, okay? But still, they will try to understand. They will imbalance it because they understand the importance of the implication. Okay, so this person is very important for me. So here they will start doing the positive evaluation of the category. Hey, he's really good, yeah, but still he do have something. Here, what they will say, fine. Here, immediately they will say, okay, fine, everyone have their own flaws, nothing wrong. Okay, let me balance. So here, even the negative self-evaluation is there also, but still they will try to convert into the positive era. Yeah, here, Hedes theory can be summarized in the following words. These are the simple words you can understand very easily. My friend's friend is my friend. My friend's enemy is my enemy. My enemy's friend is my enemy. My enemy's enemy is my friend. See, these are the simple advantages of the theory. Here, what exactly we are recognizing the people. Sometimes we are even noticing and even the inconsistent cognitions, and that this inconsistency lead to attitude change. See, suppose some X is my friend, X friend is Y and Z. Even what I'm doing, I'm into a favorable position. So I'm calling, hey, all your friends are my friends, dear. Okay, fine. See here, I'm very close to some X. I'm telling you, oh, dear, Z is your enemy. Then, okay, fine, no issue. Z is my enemy also. So here we are taking the advantage. Suppose my enemy's friend is my enemy. See, this is what Hedgel theory explains. Yeah, now we will go and discuss about the Festinger's theory of cognitive dissociation. The second theory of attitude changes is Leonard Festinger cognitive dissociation theory. Actually, this is a major influence on social psychology. Why? Actually, this is well-known fact that oftentimes there is a huge gap between the what we feel on the inside and what we tend to show on the outside. See here, what exactly we are feeling inside is different from what exactly we are showing the outside is different. This theory suggests that uncomfortable for people to have beliefs that do not match their actions. For instance, suppose your friend recently purchased a new phone. Okay, you have a strong negative attitude towards that phone because the maintenance cost is very high and is not having any kind of a battery life. But still here, what you will say, your friend asks you, what do you think about her new phone? Immediately you will say, it is likely that you will say that's a good phone. This might make you feel uncomfortable, but still, here what you're doing, your behavior is not consistent with your attitude. That's what social psychologists, they use the term whenever the negative reaction is called as a cognitive dissonance. This is cognitive dissonance, the unpleasant state. Here I'm not liking that phone, but still I don't want to hurt my friend. Here phone is not important. My friend feeling is important. So, but still I am bearing that uncomfort zone but still I am delivering, hey, good. Here we need to notice that our attitudes and our behavior may not always align. Sometimes our cognitive dissonance is the conflict that you feel whenever your attitudes is not in sync with your behaviors. See here, my attitude is completely different towards the phone, negative attitude. But because of my friend, what I'm doing, I'm saying, okay, fine. Here, what exactly you are doing, your attitude and your behavior is different. So that is what Ms. Festinger's cognitive dissonance theory explains. Here, there are many ways to resolve this issue, the dissonance. First, we can change either our attitudes or our behavior. So that what will happen, we can consider with each other. Second, what best way option we have, we can resolve the dissonance by trying to look for information that supports our behavior. Suppose I said, hey, this battery is low mode and all. Okay, fine. Then I need to do a research. I need to give the statistics. Hey, this is the thing. This much only the battery cost. Means battery price. I have to prove myself because I without hurting my friend, I need to concern my opinion. I need to give importance. That is a second issue. In first, what we can do, I need to research what are the reasons my friend found this is the best. I need to check, is that valid? Is that suits my opinion? Or what is the exact things? So we need to understand. Actually, whenever the inconsistency between Mr. Seaman and Greenberg and Rahman 1995, they studied on, okay, how people attitudes and behaviors, they will question what kind of importance they give, how they will conclude whenever they're changing their attitudes, whenever it's not sinking. So these are the two people. They studied a lot on these two things. See here, in dissonance theory, we have two choices. One is free choice and forced compliance bestowed. Free choice means whenever the situation occurs where a person makes a choice between several what do you call the alternatives. For example, Arjun involved with two men, okay, Preeti and Anjali. He's quietly fond of both, feels he should decide between them. So finally, he selected Anjali and tells Preeti that he can see her anymore. After this decision, what happened, according to Christopher, there will be a dissonance because his cognition that he likes Preeti is dissonant, but with his choice not to go out with her anymore. So since the dissociation emerges after this choice, it is known that it's a post-decisional dissociation. So he decided himself, okay, fine, I don't want to see anymore. He tells himself Anjali is more intelligent than this girl, Preeti. So my choice is so and so. So here what's happening, whatever he accepting the positive in Anjali, he is in effect reducing the inconsistency to see Preeti. So here he developed the quality called post-dissociational dissociations. Actually, these two approaches reducing the dissonance are known as the spreading alternatives. By means, because of the first, the lady is very intelligent and beautiful. That's the reason he don't want to see the another girl. Here, what he's doing, he created the spreading alternativeness in his mind. So this kind of a forced compliance happens with the dissonance occurs whenever the individual is forced into behaving in a manner that is inconsistent with his or attitudes. Here, what will happen? Actually, this person, he will see like what exactly he is liking and what other side of the person is not having. This is what Mr. Festinger and Carl Smith, they even studied on subjects. They asked them, okay, what are the tasks you have boring tasks? Name 12. Then they did, okay, refill the empty tray and do the things and all. This is the one experiment they have done. And they decided in 1959 and all. Suppose whenever the people are paying towards the group, okay, you have to carry something in the spoon and with the tray. Their performance level is very high. Here, what happening? Because they reported they enjoyed the experiment in this experiment. And yeah, this is what this. Next, we'll discuss about. Actually, in dissociation theory, most of the time attitude changes are very small. Okay, but whenever the dissociation is weak, see in the first example, the person is beautiful and intelligent when compared to Preeti. So they chosen the girl Anjali. What's happening here? Dissociation is very weak. And here, weak reasons for engage in the attitude description behavior. Suppose someone came and they said, okay, no, when compared to this girl, she have a lot of intelligence and yeah, I seen him, I seen her, she's damn good and all. Here, what happened? Distortion is very strong. Suppose if it is weak, immediately they will change. But if it is very strong, they'll say, hey, I know everything. Okay, don't get into my stuff. Here, if the person is pressured to say something or do something contrary to his privately, okay, here he will develop the attitude. So his here distortion is very strong when compared to the second situation. So this is what your theory explains. Next, Darley-Ben's self-perception theory. Okay, in cognitive dissonance theory, actually here Mr. Festinger and Carl Smith 1959, they experiment Darley-Ben's self-perception theory. Actually, it is used forced compliance dissonance. Ben's basic idea is that whenever your attitudes about something are weak, are ambiguous, you observe yourself, your own behavior and attitude to yourself. Suppose if you ask a woman if her husband likes brown bread, she might answer, I guess he does. He is always eating it. Okay. In other words, suppose based on the evidence of his behavior, his wife concludes that, yeah, he's liking the brown bread. Suppose if you ask the husband if he likes brown bread, okay, according to the Ben, same type of reasoning about himself. The man might say, I guess I do because I am always eating it. According to the self-perception theory, when people are unsure of their own attitudes, one way to infer them is by looking at their behavior. Darley Brum proposed self-perception theory in 1967 when he argued that people sometimes analyze their own behavior in the same fashion as they would analyze someone else's behavior. Actually, most of the time, what will happen? People they get habituated and they do things. They don't know what exactly they like. That's what Mr. Ben was proposing sometimes. That was counter to how people attitudes and behavior were thought. Most of the time, they would agree. For example, if the person is perceives himself, he's interested in road biking. Okay, that results made him to interest and he buys cycling equipment and he always goes on the rides and all. But here, the person attitude, self-perception influence his or behavior. Here, suppose he is not liking the bicycle riding, but his interest is go and see the new places. That might be his passion, but he's explaining the other way. Others, he wants to spend lavishly on nice road trips. That may be his interest. So here, his cognitive forced compliance dissociation explains that. Okay, because he wants to spend lavishly, that's the reason he's going for the behavior. So because of that, his behavior and he have that kind of a reason. So this theory explains that. And whenever one interesting implication of self-perception theory, suppose sometimes the person is not liking the bread, but still he is habituated. That's the reason he is doing. Suppose someone says, okay, if you are eating this, I reward. So here what happens, because of the reward, people get that habit. Actually, most of the time, kids, if they're doing the homework or they're doing on time everything, you will get some so thing. So because of the reward, people will get into that. After that, it will make them like a habit. So this effect is called that over justification effect. So here, for instance, if your child likes doing the dishes, and all of a sudden you decided to start giving your child a weekly allowance for doing the dishes. Here, what happens? The child may start attributing doing the dishes to be being paid rather than to the fact that he or she like doing the dishes. Here, what happens? Hence, the child will start liking doing the dishes less. Why? Here, your child mistakenly attributes the behavior now to external causes rather than to dispositional causes. See here, what is the external cause? He is getting paid. That is the thing. Because self-perception, he forgot himself, he likes dishwashing. So this is called over justification effect. Because for self-perception theory suggests that when people internal always awareness of their attitude or emotions, whenever it is weak, ambiguous, they can view themselves in much the same way as an outside observer. It is possible to rely on up to some extent. So this is what it explains. Now we have the theory of pertinence. Yeah, we can end this chapter with this. What is the theory of pertinence? Okay. See, whenever we are talking about this, okay, we need to understand how citizens behave and what kind of the aggressiveness they do have and how the reactance will be there. Actually, here the social psychologist, Mr. Jack Barham in 1966, he prepared this theory called pertinence theory. It's applied in many aspects of the behavior and is still considered to be one of the basic psychological theory. According to this theory, he is defined aversive affective reaction in response to regulations or impositions that impinge on freedom and autonomy. Okay, actually, this theory was done by Graham 1966, 1972, 1981, and even Buckland 1974. Here, suppose if the person have an experience reactance when he or she feels that someone or something is taking away their choices or limiting the range of alternatives. We'll take an example. In layman's terms, reactance is a very similar to the idea of reverse psychology. Humans will tend to do the opposite of what they told to. See, suppose being ordered to do something by an external person, our source implies that someone is trying to reduce one's freedom. Here, what they will do, the rectance also refers to that idea. People will want something more if they told they cannot have it. What happens? This results, humans tend to act in a manner that they will oppose the resistance which presented to their freedom. Here, Mr. Braham observed that when a person's options are taken away by external forces, he or she becomes quite troubled and may take an action to maintain or reclaim his or her lost options. Actually, here in this reactance theory, this importance is highlights people's need for control. Suppose if they lost the freedom of an action or any kind of a choice, here people desire to preserve as many options as possible. Here the psychologist noted that humans have very strong aversion to loss. They don't like if they're missing something. Okay. And here, both in options and choices also. Essentially, humans value freedom great. And actually, see, the human is, they think and they know what they want. Here, they like having options so much. Why? Because it incurs cost to their own self. And not only that, even to maintain options, they can keep more important or profitable things in their list. And not only that, they consider if you woke up one day and heard on the news that no longer have the right to vote, here what will happen? People will get upset. This is an example I'm giving you. So here, suppose if the person is voting or not, no, we don't know every year. But whenever he knows that he can't vote, definitely he will get upset and he will think that, oh my God, I lost my freedom. What to do? So this is called reactance theory. Sorry. Whenever this reactance theory happens, many people immediately revolt because someone else is trying to fringe on one of their basic freedom. See, whenever this freedom of behavior and choice is threatened, people engage in motivated behavior. Here, what they will do, they will design to take steps to rest and regain that freedom. Suppose here, what happened? Suppose a few people they terminated their vote, government. Immediately they do rally, citizens. They will become very aggressive. Okay, here they will react. This is called recurrence theory. Why they're reacting? Because they're missing the freedom. They're missing the freedom of voting. So here, whenever they're missing their freedom, no, they don't stay like that. Definitely they react in too many ways. It means in their possible ways. Depends on their consequences. That is called psychological reactance. Here, whenever people are doing that, see here, we cannot even actually, whenever we are seeing the teenagers in colleges and universities, okay, most of them, they will go for rally. One is whenever they're missing the freedom, immediately they'll come on roads and they do against to the government and all. So in reactance theory, one is people always give importance for their freedom. In the second one, whenever they have the mental effects, perceptual or judgmental changes, they don't accept. Again, they'll react. And behavior, opposition, aggression. See, whenever in the reactance theory, what they will do, suppose they know that they're going to miss their own vote. Okay, they'll say, I have freedom to vote. Immediately, what they do, they will show some kind of aggression, opposite. They may go on the buses or public, they may damage the public transport, or they may do some loss to the government and all. And what next they can do? Magnitude of threat to freedom. Here they may say, like, we are going to boycott the colleges. See, we can see many times, see, junior doctors, they'll do band, okay, in the Gandhi hospital, especially in Hyderabad, because of their salaries, because of their amenities on the. Okay, here what they're doing, whenever they are not happy, they have their demands. So they will come into the public, they'll make a note. So here they are showing their aggressiveness. See, people are dying, but still they don't melt. Why means they're giving importance for them. They're opposing. So that is what Mr. Braham in 1966 he explained the theory of reactance. So here in this class we discussed about the balance theory, and we even discussed about the cognitive dissonance theory, which is proposed by Mr. Lennon Festinger, and he even explained how motivated to reduce dissonance elements and add consonant elements to reduce tension, and consistent theory, and we even discussed about the reactance and self. Okay, this is all about your 8th chapter. Yeah, we completed up the 8 chapters. We see tomorrow class in 9th chapter. Thank you. Good day. Arisha, are you there? Okay, fine. Bye, Arisha. See you tomorrow.